Welcome back to the Chico Creates Podcast, where we have conversations with local artists, musicians, and makers from our hometown of Chico, California. I'm your host, Kira Barsodi, and with me today is Reta Rickmers.
Hi.
Reta is a local artist, a longtime Butte County resident, and a retired high school art teacher. Yeah, and you just had a show at the Chico Art Center.
I did. It just came down. It was up for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this work that you see behind us was up there.
Right.
Yeah, very cool.
I like having a big venue to show my work.
Yeah.
Like big walls.
Yeah.
Is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. For like size and being able to
just
really
to not
expand into the
have
space.
Things not feel so crowded.
Yeah, for sure.
And Cameron, who is the gallery director there, does a great job.
Yeah, she does an amazing job curating.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the little blurb I had.
Well, let's see. Briefly, I'm originally from Texas.
Okay.
I grew up there, and then I moved to Europe when I was 14.
Oh, cool.
And I lived in Germany and England. I graduated from London Central High School. And then I moved back to Texas for a while. I lived in Denver, New Mexico, various places.
Yeah.
In California.
Okay.
So I've been in California since 76.
Okay.
So.
And what brought you to Chico?
To school. I
Okay.
came here to go to school to get my art degree and to get my teaching credential.
Cool. And then you just stayed.
I just stayed. Well, I left briefly to go teach high school in Bakersfield.
Okay.
I taught in Bakersfield for a couple of years.
Okay.
Because back then it was really hard to get an art teacher job in Chico because Chico State's a teacher's university.
Right.
Right. So they're known for that. So, but now it's not. Now they just are begging for teachers
Yeah.
everywhere. It's like, yeah. But anyway, I was happy to come back to Chico.
Yeah. Nice. So what was it about Chico that made you want to come back and stay? Like you've been all over the place, like around the world. And what is it about Chico?
And I have lived in a lot of different places. I love the park.
Yeah.
I love the park. I love the small town feel of like downtown. The university, that even though it's a small town, it brings in a lot of culture.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a really great central location because you're not that far from the coast, from the mountains, from San Francisco, from Sacramento. So it's really local. It's a good location. So
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And so what's your favorite local spot or place to hang out?
Well, I was thinking about that before I came. I would say, to be in nature, it's the park.
Yeah.
I live just a half a block from the park.
Awesome.
So I can just walk out of my door and just walk in the park. And that is such a blessing. Yeah. Like during COVID,
Yeah.
like I was outside all the time because I could just go out and walk in the park. It was like so sweet. And when the weather's not this intense, I hike a lot in Upper Park. I love to hike, and so I just think it's such a blessing. But in terms of built environment, I love the Chico Art Center, which we already mentioned. I love MUNCA, the Museum of Northern California Art, and I think Chico is so lucky to have both of those venues for art.
Yeah.
And I wish more people would get in there and see what's going on and become involved.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
Those places, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the Chico Art Center is free to go in.
Right. Right.
And is it first Fridays at MUNCA that they have like
they have a lot of different events there.
Yeah.
They have receptions that are always free.
Right,
so you can always go to the
receptions
reception.
are free. That's right. That's what
and
I'm
see
thinking
the
of.
show.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of jurred shows, which I enjoy submitting to those because they kind of make you move in different directions as an artist.
Yeah.
To meet that criteria. So I like that.
Yeah.
But also students are free.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
All you need is an ID card. So you could be a
Perfect.
college student, or you could bring your kids or whatever. It's all free. It's
Awesome.
only $5 for adults.
Right.
To get in.
It's very affordable.
And the membership is reasonable.
They have some really great exhibits
They do.
come through.
They do. I've had my pieces in there a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wings in Art was the first, the one with the Snow Goose Festival.
Right,
that's when I first actually went to MUNCA, had a piece in MUNCA, and that also actually spurred a whole series bird art from me. We talked about this at the reception at the Chico Art Center.
I had a couple of pieces in that show.
Yeah, because you do have a lot of birds.
I do, I mean, part of being a park person is watching and listening to birds. And so I am a birder. I'm not a professional birder by any means, but I can see birds that people can't even see. I'll be walking with somebody and I'm like, oh, look, there's an oak titmouse. And I'm like, what? I'm like, right there. There's an oak titmouse.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, how do you see that? I'm like, I don't know.
You know what you're looking for.
But I'm also just a visual person.
Yeah.
So I relate to that. And then I've just started listening, and I've been able to start to identify birds by their songs, which I'd always wanted to do. There's this great app called Merlin, which you can have on your phone, and it's free. It's amazing. And you just go in the park and you just put it on audio record, and all these birds pop up that you're hearing in the park, and then you can look and you can see them.
Yeah.
So most of the birds I do are birds that are around here. Most of my bird paintings.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Birds that I've seen. Not all of them, but mostly birds I've seen. And also some birds I see when I travel.
Right.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about your background in art. Obviously, you went to school for art.
Right.
Have you always been into it since you were little?
Yeah. Always. Yeah. The biggest thrill when I was a kid was getting the 64 box of crayons.
Yes.
And I'm also a very kind of literary person too. So all the names of the crayons. Yeah. Like periwinkle and mahogany and just all these cool names with this color thing was wow, it was so awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then all through, I'd say starting in junior high school, I always took art. And high school, I took art. And then college, and I dropped out of college after 2 years. And then I didn't go back for 13 years. And so I went back as a single mom of 2 boys.
Wow.
Yeah. And so all that time, that 13 years, I always did art.
Yeah.
I took classes and just always had a sketchbook.
Yeah.
And so it's just always, I just say it's always been the thread that ran through my life.
Yeah. That's very cool.
It's my happy place.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and so what does art look like for you now that you're retired and technically have all the time in the world to paint?
Right. Well, first,
is that reality or?
It is and it isn't. But first, I mean, I always did art the whole time I was teaching.
Right.
I always did my own art.
Yeah.
Because I do see that. I mean, quite a few art teachers, they just have to put it on the back burner because they just can't juggle everything. But for me, it was like a necessity.
Yeah. And so how did you prioritize it?
I always had to do art. I mean, it was just, I might not be doing massive pieces or anything, but I always had something going on.
Yeah.
And mainly it's having a space.
Yeah.
You have to have a space where you can just get up and leave it.
Yes.
Because otherwise, if you have to go in the closet and take everything out, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I always just felt like teaching art and making art were just so connected. And it was back and forth. Teaching art helped me become a better artist and it would inspire me. But being an artist also inspired me as a teacher. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to tell them that. I've got to show them how to do that.
Yeah.
Because, oh, that's really cool. I can show that. Or if I go to an art exhibit, I'd be taking pictures. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to tell the kids about this. Yeah. So it was just, this cohesive type thing of doing art and making art. And so since I've been retired, I'm actually still work part-time for Butte County Office of Ed as an artist in residence.
Cool.
So it's very, very part-time. But I go out to schools that don't have art teachers.
Oh, that's great.
And I just have a 5-week engagement with the kids.
Right.
And I've worked with younger kids doing that.
That's awesome.
I only taught high school, but I've worked with 4th graders, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So I've gotten to work with all of those age groups, and it's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still do that, but it's very part-time. But my practice right now is that I paint every night when I'm home. I have a little art studio in my backyard. And so I'm pretty much every single night I go out and paint.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like to paint at night because I like to be out and do things during the day.
Right. I was going to say, are you a night owl? Or?
I'm not a night owl, but I am a day person, and that I like to hike and walk and socialize and garden, and there's just all these things that you can't do at night, but you can paint at night.
Daylight hours for you
can't have lunch at night usually with your girlfriends.
Right.
So it just works better for me to, after dinner, I just like to go paint.
Yeah.
And sometimes
awesome.
the time does get away from me, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to go to bed.
Bedtime, yeah.
Yeah, because it energizes my brain. A lot of people are like, because when I was working, they'd be like, how can you go out and paint at like 8 o'clock at night? And I'm like, it wakes me up.
Yeah.
It does. Absolutely. It just wakes up my brain. I'm like, so I'm not even tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And I was going to say, you also volunteer at Monca and the Chico Art Center, right?
And I volunteer at the library book sales on Saturday mornings.
Okay.
Those are awesome if you haven't been to them.
Yeah.
If you're a reader, I mean, that's the place to go.
Yeah. The library is awesome.
It is.
We need to keep it open.
Yeah, absolutely.
For so many reasons.
So many reasons. Yeah. So, yeah, I do. I don't technically volunteer at the Art Center, but I'm on the board of directors for the Art Center now.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I told myself when I retire, I want to do that as a way to give back to the Art Center.
Yeah.
And it's a great group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it really is. I've gotten more involved in the last few months, really.
I know.
And it's been really cool to get to know
and everybody's
them.
like, we want Kara on the board.
Maybe when my child is... Maybe when I don't have an 8.5-month-old.
I know. Believe me, I do know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of making art with 2 boys.
Yeah.
As a single mom.
Yeah.
Man, power to you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I went to school.
I'm sure.
I got my degree with the 2 little kids and did the art and everything to get my art degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. The only reason I'm here right now is because I have a nanny and I have the amazing team at Metric putting this all together. There's no way.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what led you to your current medium style? I love the combination of the abstract backgrounds with the painted. You've got a raccoon over here and a lot of birds, like I said.
Okay, well, this is really cool because I collaborate with my son.
Oh, awesome.
I have a son who is 41, and he just started doing art, I think 4 or 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And so, but he likes to work very abstractly.
Yeah.
So he does the backgrounds.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and he has no idea what I'm going to put on him.
Yeah.
And I have no say-so at all about what he does.
Right.
Like, he does not like me to say, well, would you work with certain colors? He's like, that's not happening, Mom.
Yeah.
So it's but he just goes in kind of in spurts where he'll just crank out 40 canvases that are all different types and colors, and some are in a series. You can tell that this is part of a series that he does. He'll lay them all out, and he's very free in a way that I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, because I tend to work more realistically.
Right.
I definitely was working with an abstract backgrounds before he started getting involved. Mm-hmm. But I like his better than mine.
Yeah.
I can't do it as good as he does
it.
Because he's just so free. He says, you have to be okay with wasting paint. And I'm like, I just have such a hard time with that. Because he's slinging it and doing all the,
Yeah.
And he really has fun with it, but it gives it so much life.
Yeah.
It just gives it so much movement.
So much abandon.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I get to just say, okay, what would go there? What bird or what animal or our doors? He did the background on this doors that I'm working on right now, and they're bigger pieces because he would love to work really big.
Yeah.
But we don't have a place for him to work really big.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been really great. That's part of what I do, but I've also done in the past couple of years quite a few commissions.
Okay.
Where I've done a lot of guitar paintings.
Interesting, yeah.
Guitars, some of them are by famous people. Mm-hmm. I got commissioned to do Prince's guitar and Neil Young's guitar. I've actually done 3 Neil Young guitar paintings.
Awesome.
And I've done Santana. On my own, I did a whole series of Tom Petty and Santana.
Okay.
People that
and then,
personally
and then
I
from
love.
there, you got the commissions for the specific.
Well, no, I got commissioned first to do these guitars for a CD cover.
Oh, okay.
Of a friend. He wanted to use his guitar and then 2 other guitars of people that were on the CD. Mm-hmm. And so he commissioned me. I did 3 separate paintings. He put them together into this cover. Mm-hmm. And then that inspired me to start doing these other paintings. Mm-hmm. And then I was posting them, and then that got me a commission to do I think it was 4 more guitar paintings.
Yeah. That's so cool.
I know. I've also done like commissions for like dog portraits, cars. I did one for a 61 red convertible. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it pushes me in different directions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, commissions are always fun because, people, obviously they see something in what you can do, and then it forces you to pivot, a little bit and expand.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they're fun for sure.
Yeah.
So you did mention like what your creative practice looks like kind of on a day-to-day basis, at night, after dinner. Is that just kind of the trigger? Just after dinner, you just head straight to the studio, or do you have any other like rituals or routines?
I just, when the kitchen's clean, then I can go out and paint.
I love that.
And then I go and look at what I've done every morning, and that's kind of exciting. It's like, oh, this is so cool. Because you get in this zone when you're painting where you're like,
you need
your
space.
brain, and also your brain is just like, it's in this other place.
Yeah.
So when I go back out the next morning, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got to do this. But it's almost like this weird lapse.
Yes.
Like you paint and then you sleep, and then I look at it and I'm like, okay, that's really interesting, like where my mind went last night when I was painting. If that doesn't sound too weird.
No, I think a lot of people can identify. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because it really does, like doing art really does release all these endorphins.
It does.
In people.
Yeah.
This different brain waves.
Yeah.
You just have different brain waves.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's very like good for your mental health to make art. Everybody should be making art.
Agree.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you think it's good or not, just do it.
So true. It's therapeutic. It really absolutely is therapeutic.
Yeah, for sure. And we also kind of touched on how life in Chico influences your work, all the birds coming in from Bidwell and everything.
Oh, yeah, and in my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And going out to like Aguas Frias Road, like 7 Mile Road, and seeing all the birds out there. Yeah, it's really nice. And my son also does a lot of gardening, so he has all these plants that bring in all these birds and hummingbirds and butterflies and everything. It's really
I love the hummingbirds. Yeah. I have a window in my little breakfast nook studio, and I hung up a hummingbird feeder, and they come visit all day long, and it's great. My cats love it too.
I put off like painting hummingbirds. I'm like, hummingbirds are just like so trite. I mean, they're so cliche.
You're right.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, I can't stand it. I'm just going to do some hummingbird paintings anyway. They're so cool.
They are so cool. They're magical little creatures.
They're amazing. I saw one this morning drinking water off of a leaf.
Yeah.
Because we had watered, and there was this, it was like so cute.
Yeah, we when we moved into our house, it had this big, it's kind of an eyesore pond, in like above ground pond. It's a weird pond, and I wanted to rip it out, but I was out there one day feeding. It also came with koi fish, so we inherited a bunch of fish.
Yeah.
And I was feeding the fish, and then all these like 3 hummingbirds came around to the like fountain and were drinking out of the fountain. And I was like, well, now we can't get rid of the pond because
it's part of an ecosystem.
Exactly. And we water the bees, we water the blue jays, we water the squirrels. Like we can't get rid of this.
Raccoons go there too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's a very deep pond, so the fish stay low for the raccoons.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to mention our Little Chico Creek sponsor for this episode is Ecota Collective, a curated retail collective and lifestyle brand housing multiple vendors under one roof. They provide the opportunity for artists, makers, and curators to sell their goods at a beautiful brick and mortar location in downtown Chico, California. At Ecota Collective, you can expect to find bespoke, mindful wares with a touch of the unexpected. And it really is a gorgeous space, and some of my work is up there, and there's some really cool things that you really can't find anywhere else in town or the world, since a lot of it's local makers, so go check it out.
Details are really important to me. When I was like 12 years old, I would create like a little map of my room with little movable furniture.
Wow.
My name's Nicole Enns. This is Ecota Collective. I mean, I really just want everybody to see everything and notice everything. What we do at ECODA is provide a place for you to come and see and experience and shop people's creations and art and have a lot of fun while you're doing it. We have over 50 vendors. We sell art, we sell ceramics, we sell clothing. We have so many different products. Bringing all of these things together where it's like a little segment of Chico where you can come and experience what it's like to be a Chicoan. And to me, that is honestly one of the most exciting parts. Stop by, come and see us, come and say hello.
So do you have any ongoing or upcoming projects?
I do. I have the Open Studios Art Tour.
Yes.
Is coming up in October. Yeah. And I'm always on that tour. And so that's a big push to get things done, because besides my paintings, I also try to market my art doing cards and posters and even mugs sometimes, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, which is fun. And so that's in October. That's 2 weekends in October.
Yep.
And that's through the Chico Art Center.
Yeah.
So you can buy there's going to be a lot of different places you can buy the guidebook.
Yeah,
and it supports the Art Center as well as local artists.
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
It is.
It's really fun to just go around to the different studios and see all the art that's in Chico. Yeah. Definitely Chico does create.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if we have a record number of artists involved this year, but
I think we do.
Lot.
Yeah, it's 85.
Yeah,
which is
awesome.
85 different artists, so that is really fun. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing my studio with one of my former students.
Awesome, that's so cool.
So that's really full circle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super cool. Do you have new work in that show? Or
I will, yeah. I'm working right now on a door series, a big doors.
That's cool.
Right. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on smaller bird paintings, because those are easier for people to find a place to put them. The big door pieces, paintings are kind of like
passion
they have
project.
to have the right place for it. You know? The people that buy them love them, but they do have to have the right space for it.
Yeah.
Because they're big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. And then I usually do 2 pop-ups a year at my house where I have a lot of different vendors come in.
That's awesome.
Usually like 8 different vendors come in. And then we're going to have one November 18th.
Oh, cool.
So that's also kind of a fun thing.
Yeah. And a great time of year.
Right.
To do a pop-up.
It is, right. That's right. And we have one in the spring.
Awesome.
And then just planning where to go next for traveling. Because that's a big focus in my life, is to travel.
Yeah, for sure.
I
mean, having spent so much of your young life abroad and everything too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now I have the travel bug bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So where are you planning to travel next?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I love Europe.
Yeah.
And I go to Europe either every year or every couple of years. So I just got back from 2.5 months where I did Portugal, France, Greece, Morocco, the Dolomites. And
packed trip.
Yeah. I worked for a year saving money.
Nice.
To pay for my travels, and it still didn't cover it.
Yeah, of course not.
It's expensive.
Yeah,
but I got to do it. I got to do it while I can. We all have to do it while we can.
Absolutely.
The world is changing. It's getting really crazy.
It is for a lot of different reasons.
Normally, you would have thought it would be safe to be on Maui right now.
Right.
I mean, so you just don't know what's going to happen in the world. I mean, it's like, got to do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you bring your art practice with you when you travel?
I photograph.
Oh, okay, cool.
I photograph and I journal.
Yeah.
So, my photography is my art when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
And so I spend time with that, making it artistic, I think. And I also, it's just a way to process and record what I see every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really good.
That's really cool.
I don't paint on location.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a whole different ballgame.
It is.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, I'm so glad you came in and we got to chat about Chico and art. And
my pleasure. Yeah. Definitely. I appreciate that you're doing this. I think it's really important work.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. No, it really feels like Chico is having a moment and the arts in Chico is having a moment. So yeah, I really want to like share that.
I know, and I think it's so important for all the different artists and art organizations to all network and connect and support each other like as much as possible. And for Chico to just be known as an art town.
Yeah.
You know, we have to, and it's happening with all the different murals around town, and there's just so many things that are happening, but sometimes people don't really know about it.
Yeah. Well, it's surprising the number of people who still don't know about open studios. Right. That's been going on forever.
It has, It's true. There's just so much art stuff going on. So I think that's important to promote that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, awesome. My sign off is thank you so much for watching, and we will see you around town.